So, how much money did your advisor make when he sold you that annuity? Well, stick around. I'll share the answer with you, and you may be surprised. It was a lot more than you thought. Well, welcome to another edition of Hanging Out with Popsy Guy. And if you've had the opportunity to watch any of my other videos, I think what you've learned is that I like to share some of the experiences I've had as a financial advisor for more than 20 years, sitting down with clients, getting to know them. And this channel is really dedicated to those who are over 60 years old, who are planning for retirement, who have been thrust into retirement, and they have assets that they are planning to live on. Doesn't matter the amount of assets, they will be invited, you will be invited to sit down with a financial advisor and learn what to do with those. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that you should be looking out for when these invitations come. It could be that you've just been referred to an advisor from a close friend of yours who has worked with this person for many years and really enjoys them and thinks the world of them. And says, hey, you need to meet my advisor. This person is great and he'll take care of you. What I'd like you to do is learn from some of the things I've seen over my years of counseling folks over the age of 60, because that's really where my focus had been for these many years. Folks who have worked their whole lives to save money, who are now planning on living that dream we call retirement, which is a whole different conversation, by the way. I'm of the opinion when you retire, you start the slow descent into death. I mean, how many rounds of golf can you play? How many trips can you take? How many cruises can you do? How many pina coladas on the beach can you drink? Well, that one I think is kind of like the Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? Crunch! The world may never know. Anyway, I just flashed back to a commercial when I was a kid, and if you're my age, you remember that well. So back to the subject at hand. If you're over the age of 60 and most likely over 65, chances are good that you're at that point where you're looking to get advice on how to manage your finances, how to manage your money, not so much your finances, but if you're retiring with a lump sum from a distribution of an IRA or a 401k, or you've got some other money that you're interested in protecting, then natural thing for you to do is go seek advice. You were probably really good at what you did for work, then you realize managing money, that's a whole nother ball game right there. And it's not something that really excites you. You're good at making money and saving money, but when it comes to actually managing it and making sure you don't lose it, that's a different ball game. And we're blessed enough to live in a country where there are thousands, if not millions, of people that would be happy to sit down with you and talk to you about how they can turn your assets into their commissions. And that's really what this is all about, is to help you understand that are you working with a professional financial advisor who is full of disclosure, wants you to understand what you're getting yourself into if you come to work with them? Or are you working with somebody that says, hey, this is what everybody's doing, you need to do this too, and sells you something that is not appropriate for you? I'm a huge advocate of disclosure. I know I've said that time and time again. I put resource links in another video that you can check up on your financial advisor. Um, Let me share with you a story. When I would sit down with prospective clients, husband and wife, usually in their late 60s, early 70s, very nice people, either came to one of my presentations or were referred. And in that first get together, that's what's known as the first interview, right? That's where you get to know the advisor, um, and to see if you're going to click, right? It's here's something over the age of 65 or 70 you'll see is that a lot of the advisors that are going to meet with you are not even older than your grandchildren. And it takes a little while to get over the fact that you're dealing with somebody who looks just like one of your grandkids. And you can't get past that. And it's okay. Trust me, it's okay. If you're in that situation and the person sitting across the conference room table looks a little bit too young to know what they're talking about, it's okay to ask for an older advisor. somebody that you can sit down with and look at and say, okay, I can tell this person maybe has some of the same battle scars I have, maybe has some of the same thoughts that I've had. It's okay to do that. Most people won't. They will just go into the conference room. The person who is at the front desk says, oh, come in here and sit in this conference room table, and John will be with you in a moment. And you're sitting there with your spouse, admiring the wonderful office, because it usually is a trophy office. There's all kinds of memorabilia in the office. There's great things to look at. Unlike a doctor's office, right? All you get to look at is the other people in the doctor's office. But this situation, you go into a conference room of an advisor's office, it's meant to impress. Well, the door opens and in comes a 20-something or an early 30-something, and you go, yeah, where's the guy that owns the place? Where's the woman that owns the place? To yourself. You don't say it out loud. That's the first thing I want you to do is if you're not comfortable with the advisor who's sitting across the conference room table, um, find an older advisor. I know that sounds really horrible. They may be an awesome technician. They may know more about financial products than you'll ever forget in your lifetime. But there's something about a relationship when it comes to managing money and finances that's deeper than just the spreadsheet. It's deeper than just the Monte Carlo simulation. It's a personal relationship. So rule number one, don't be afraid to ask to age up a little bit, okay? Rule number two, and something I really enjoyed when somebody came into my office, is they were prepared. They were prepared not just to meet me and to learn about my background and qualifications, but they had a list of questions. And whether that list of questions was generated from a conversation that we had over the phone, or as I said, they came to one of my presentations, I loved it when people came prepared. There are advisors that get annoyed when people ask questions. So if you're sensing that you're coming in with a list of things that you want answered, but the advisor is just hell-bent to give you their presentation and why they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they work with people like you all the time, and they make people successful just by listening to their philosophy and implementing their strategy and yada yada yada. If that little spirit inside of you, that little twitch is saying, ooh, listen to it. We're talking about your money. And the other thing that I'm passionate about is nobody cares more about your money than you do. So let's get back to the situation where somebody's coming into an office and they have, number one, the guts to ask for somebody who looks a little bit more like they do, and then age and demographic and um, just history. And secondly, they come in with a list of questions. Awesome. And the list of questions should be very direct. And the first one is, so tell me a little bit about how you get paid. Are you a registered investment advisor or a representative of a registered investment advisor? Are you a securities licensed financial professional? Because the questions that you ask, you can check up on the answers. As I just said a minute ago, I've left links in other videos where you can go to what's called broker check, or you can go to the SEC website and look up an advisor or an advisor firm, and all the information that you need to know about somebody's background, how they manage themselves, have they got any public disclosures, it's all right there. So you want to make sure you ask those questions, and then you do your own due diligence and go check out to make sure those answers match what you find out for yourself. Okay. So those are some of the things that I would love you to do if you were coming into my office, which you can't anymore because I don't do this. Semi-retired, and I deliver pizza. Well, why the heck should I listen to Popsy Guy? He doesn't even do this anymore. He delivers pizza. It's because, like you, I've got a lot of experience in what I did for most of my life. And I want to share that with you because, once again, it's your money, and nobody cares more about your money than you do. And if you make a mistake, you know what? I don't think you have another 30, 40 years to work to recover financially from that mistake. So let's just be honest with each other and say that this is a very big decision. and I don't want you to blow it. All right, so I'm going to fast forward because I don't want to lose you. But all the rage these days are what's called fixed indexed annuities. And if you're over 60, and as I said, probably even closer to age 70, everybody wants to sell you a fixed indexed annuity. And you know why? Because they can't lose money. If the market goes up, you make money. If the market goes down, you don't lose any money. It's magic. So the word that is the last, the A in a fixed index annuity is exactly that. It's an annuity. It's an insurance contract between you and an insurance company sold by a licensed insurance agent. A licensed insurance agent doesn't earn a fee. He earns or she earns, they earn a commission. And the commission will be a percentage of the amount of money that you put into the contract. Now, I can tell you right now that when folks would come into my office and I would, I'd ask maybe the second or third meeting to share with me what other financial decisions they've made, what do they own, do they have a portfolio, who's managing it, can I take a look at it, I'd like to do an analysis, do you own any annuities, life insurance, long-term care, please give me all of that so I can do an analysis, share with you some of my thoughts. Well, inevitably, as the years started to roll on and these fixed index annuities became more and more popular, I'd have folks say, yeah, I just bought a fixed index annuity. I said, well, congratulations, tell me about it. And they would hit the highlights. They would remember what the agent told them, which is, I can't lose any money. And if the market goes up, my money goes up. But if the market goes down, my money doesn't go down. It's awesome. What else do you know about it? Well, I can get money out anytime I want. I'd go, oof, okay, kind of true. Tell me else. Share with me what else you know about it. And more often than not, they couldn't tell me anything more than they can't lose money. And the reason that is true is because that's what the agent told them. That's what the agent focused the whole discussion on. Got up to the whiteboard or had some fancy spreadsheets or did something to woo the then prospective client who wanted to roll over their 401k into an IRA annuity. And they signed the papers, they got the transfer paperwork all done, and they probably, if we're stopped by the police and the policeman said, hey, do you know why I stopped you? And I said, no, officer, I don't know why. Well, I need you to explain to me what a fixed index annuity does and how it works. They'd go to jail because they couldn't do it. That's what I found. It's a complicated product. It really is. But the good news is you live in the 21st century. You have Google. You have Chat GPT 4.0 or whatever it is. You can find out anything you need to. And guess what? It's incumbent upon you to do that. So the fixed indexed annuity commissions, that's what you're hanging around for. Matter of fact, hold on, before I even go there, I want to share with you, I continually get emails because for some reason I'm still on the list of a lot of these companies. Haven't done this for 4 or 5 years. I'm going to take a look at this real quick because I thought it was amazing. I printed it out. No company is named in it, but that's okay. So it says it's time to think bigger. Up to a 23% premium bonus. So what that means is if I was a seller of this type of annuity, I could tell my prospective client, listen, any money that you put into the contract, this insurance company is going to give you an additional 23%. So round numbers, you put in 100,000, your contract's going to, on day one, have $123,000. Doesn't that sound good? That sounds awesome. I mean, who's going to say no to free money? But because you're over the age of 60 and you're smarter than the average bear, you're like, wait a minute, there's no such thing as a free lunch. But you don't ask any questions because you're like, 23%, whew, that's pretty good. I can't get that in the market right now without taking on a lot of risk. And guess what? You can get your money out after the first year. You can take 10% out, penalty free. That sounds like a good deal. But wait a minute, it's my money. Why do I have to wait a year to get it? And why would I pay any more than 10% to get the money out? Because the insurance company is going to take your money and they're going to do one thing. They're going to invest that money. They're going to lock that money up into long-term investments, most likely treasury bonds. And then they're going to use some of the money to buy derivatives and certain securities. And you are not investing in the stock market. Your money is just in a fixed annuity and it gets credited a certain amount of interest every year. That's how it works. You don't own any of the underlying assets the insurance company is purchasing with your money. You're just going to get credited. And the insurance company is going to say, well, listen, if whatever index you choose, let's call it the Standard & Poor's 500, goes up by 20%, you're going to have a 70% par. Well, it says right there, 70% par. I know what par is. That's like when it's a golf course. If I have to get the ball in the hole in 4 strokes, and I do, that's par. Not in this world. This is participation. So 70% participation means that if the market goes up by 10%, you only get 7%. Well, why don't I get 10%? It went up by 10%. That's the question you need to ask. And if this advisor is worth their weight in salt, they will tell you the truth. Well, how do you think the insurance company can rig it so that you don't lose any money when the market goes down? Because you're using the spread of that 3% to protect themselves. So it costs you 30% of the gain in the market so that you don't lose any money. That's how they make their money. And I just want you to know that. That's not a bad thing, but most people can't understand or can't explain it to me. And if I sat down with somebody who had one of these contracts, I said, tell me how it works. They go, I just know I make money when the market goes up and I don't lose money when the market goes down. And I'll say, well, how much does that cost you? Nothing. Didn't cost me anything. I gave the guy $100,000 and $100,000 is in my account. Okay, yeah, that's true, but it's not accurate. Because once you decide you need money from this account, life jumps in the way and you need more than 10%, or so you want to help one of your kids or medical expense, whatever the reason is, and you've put most of your assets in this fixed annuity, indexed annuity, you're going to pay a lot of money to get your own money out. And in this case, this company is offering you a 23% bonus. It's not your money. And they're telling you you can get over 10%. You can get 10% out in the first year without paying a penalty. What if you need more than 10%? How much is it? Well, it starts at 10%. The penalty that you'll pay this insurance company is 10% of the amount of money you take out. So if you take out $100,000, 10 grand, 10% of that is a charge that the insurance company keeps. Now you net 90. So I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers out there, but Popsy Guy wants you to be sure that you're asking the right questions and that you're not being bamboozled. I did a whole video on, is your advisor an advisor or a salesperson? Most people that buy fixed index annuities are sold a fixed index annuity. But like I said over and over again, they can't explain to you what they have. So the person that sold that annuity, let's say it's this company right here, and they put $100,000 into the fixed indexed annuity. The person that sold it gets $7,000. That's a 7% commission, up to 7% for this particular company. That's a pretty good day's work, right? Sell 1 or 2 of those a month or a week, you're doing pretty good. As I said in another video, who's got the tallest buildings in the city skyline? Banks and insurance companies, and that's the reason. Well, they're selling you something, and they're making a lot of money. And when you decide you need to get your money out of this thing, good luck. Most people end up hiring a lawyer. I don't know why I bought this. That's why you need to, again, go back and understand who you're dealing with. Does this person have any disclosures in their background? Have there been any complaints about product suitability and things of that nature? Because I'm telling you, if you're sitting down back in the day when I did this for a living, across the table from me, I want you to ask those questions. You need to ask those questions. I remember many years ago, I was working with a physician. And if you know anything about doctors, there's nothing they don't know. Doctors know everything. Just ask them. And at the time, all the rage for doctors was to buy real estate. Buy real estate, own the building, get the rent, passive income, add that to the income that you're earning as a physician, life is good. And some of them, the surgeons specifically, you want them this way. You want cocky surgeons. You want confident surgeons. You don't want a guy or person open you up and going, no, this is my first one. I hope I do okay. So this one guy came in and He just dropped everything he owned in a leather binder on top of my table. He goes, I want you to figure it out. I want you to tell me if I'm doing good. And then tell me how much you charge if you see anything you want to fix. And I'd be like, yeah. I just pushed the binder across from the table and sent it back to him. I said, not yet. And he looked at me like, how dare you? Don't you know who I am? It's like the old American Express commercials. Don't you know who I am? Why? You don't know who you are? So when I pushed it back, he said, I ain't even going to look at it. And I said, nope, not yet. He goes, why not? I'm giving you an opportunity to take a look at this and you might get my business. I said, doctor, I don't know anything about you. I would love to go through this and impress you with my knowledge about why you did this and all this. But you know what? If it's not a good fit for me and it's not a good fit for you, why bother? And he actually said to me, all right, cool. Nobody's ever done that. Everybody just thinks I've got money and they want my business. So we spent the next 45 minutes getting to know each other. We found we had a lot in common at the time. When racquetball was all the rage, he was a racquetball player, I was a racquetball player. So we bragged about all the times we didn't lose. And really we had a good conversation. It turns out he became a very valued client. And one of the things I want to share with you too is if you're doing an estate plan, I know I'm rambling about this stuff, but man, I get juiced up about it. And you're doing an estate plan with an attorney, be sure that the trust is funded. Because this same guy that I was just telling you about was absolutely adamant that all his assets were in a trust. And I said, okay. And I'm looking at, as we were getting to know each other and I was digging into his stuff a little bit deeper, I'd look at his statements from his brokerage or his custodial account, and they were all titled in his name. I said, Doc, I don't think you put these assets in a trust. He goes, Dave, come on. You know how much money I spent on that attorney? He goes, I'm going to have my assistant FedEx that binder that's in my house to you so that you can look at it. I said, okay, that's cool. Next day, FedEx shows up, big box, sign for it, open it up. Beautiful leather binder. Has his name embossed on it, his name, living trust. I open it up. It's got all the tabs of all the places where the document should be, but there was nothing in it. They sent him the binder with the understanding that he was supposed to contact the custodian of his assets and do the name change and then put that in the binder. So we had to do that for him. And can you imagine if something had happened to him and he had died and his whole family thought this money was in trust and it wasn't? Woo. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and I just want to tell you that when you're sitting down with a financial advisor, you're over the age of 60, probably closer to age 70. Ask a lot of questions. Be prepared. Nobody cares more about your money than you do. And if they are pushing on you a life insurance product or a fixed indexed annuity, do your best to know more about it than they think you know and ask good questions. Because when you do that, you'll discover whether or not the person who's trying to sell you that annuity knows anything about it or just has done the calculation on a $100,000 deposit. I'm going to make $7,000. Once I get these folks signed up, I'm on to the next one. And I don't want that to be you if that's not the case. So listen, do me a favor, comment. If you think I'm full of cookies, please do that. I'm not an advisor anymore, so I'm just, this channel is starting to turn into a warning for people over the age of 60 when they're shopping for a financial advisor on what to expect. Because sometimes it's like the new car smell. You think it's awesome. I love it. I can't wait to drive it. Then if you're financing it, all of a sudden you get that first payment. Like, I don't know if I like this car as much as I thought. Same thing with a financial advisor. It's a long-term relationship. They're easy to get into, hard to get out of, but you also want to deal with somebody that you really enjoy working with. You don't want your stomach to do a knot, to have a knot in it when you see your advisor, his name pop up on your caller ID or her name. So, all right, well, listen, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, give me some comments, and give me some other ideas that you want to talk about. If staying on this theme and giving you a little inside baseball on how the world of financial advisors works, man, I'm all for it. I've got some other videos lined up that are not that, but if you tell me you want to stay on this theme or bail out, man, this is hanging out with Popsy guys for me to learn from you as much as it is for you to learn from me. So I appreciate the time. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.